Okay, here I'm going to be solving a polynomial equation. If I notice these two are cubes, so I have the difference of two cubes, so I can go ahead and factor this. This is like problems number 7 and 8 on your classwork. Okay, so remember you have that little saying SOAP to kind of help remember the signs when you're factoring. So let's use that. You're going to have S-O-A-P for soap, right? Same sign, minus, opposite sign, plus, always positive. Okay? Let me scoot that over a little. Okay, so that's going to separate all of your terms. So the first set of parentheses you're going to get from taking the cube root of these two terms. So in other words, what times what times what is x to the third? X. And then what times what times what is 216? 6. Okay? And then you're going to square the first one, times them together, and then you're going to square the last term. So I'm looking at these two when I'm talking about that. So if I square the first term, I get x squared. If I times them together, ignoring the signs, I've already got the signs. 6 times x is 6x. And then I square the last one. 6 squared is 36. Okay. So that's my setup. For this one, I can easily solve it. It's going to give me positive 6. For this one, I can't easily solve it. There's two solutions for this one. Notice the exponent. That tells me there's two solutions. This you'll never be able to factor when it's comes from the cubic difference like this. So you are always going to have to use the quadratic formula. Okay, so this is A, this is B, and this is C. So you're going to have to plug in all of the coefficients. So A is 1, B is 6, C is 36. I'm going to plug those in. Negative B would be negative 6. B squared would be 6 squared minus 4 times A. You're not using the variable, you're just using the coefficient. So 1 times C, which is 36. All over 2 times A, so 2 times coefficient 1. So then I need to work on that radical. 6 squared is 36, minus 4 times 1 times 36. That's a good question. I don't have my calculator, I have to do this by hand. 12, so minus 144, all over 2. Okay, alright, and then I need to subtract those. Negative 6 plus or minus 36. So that gives me 1, 0, that's 8. Minus 108. Ooh, negatives. Now, you want to try and work on this radical, otherwise you're done. Okay, so if you can't do anything with the radical, you're done. If I look at this radical, it's not a perfect square, but I think of perfect squares that may go into it. So let me try 4 because that's easy to deal with. 4 goes into that twice. Subtract 28, 7. I'm looking at this. 27 could kind of be broken down. I'm guessing that it's going to be 36. So 36 times what is 108? Probably 8. No. Probably 3. 8, 1, yep. So 36 times 3. Okay. So I get x equals negative 6 plus or minus. Alright, let me just kind of break this down. I also have that negative to account for. Okay, so I think it's just easier to put the negative on the perfect square. So it's 36 times 3. Okay, so I'm going to break that 108 down into 36 times 3, and then it's negative, so I'll put the negative on the perfect square. Okay, all over 2. So the square root of negative 36 is 6i. And then there is no square root for 3, so bring that down. And then you can see if you can reduce. And you'll be able to reduce if this number, and this number can be divided by something. So if I think about it, they can all be divided by 2. Never touch the radical, it's locked in because you can't square root it. But you have to be able to divide all terms. So I get negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. 6i divided by 2 is 3i. Bring down your radical. And then 2 divided by 2 is 1. So you could write the 1 or you don't have to. You're actually done. Because anything over 1 is itself. Okay, and that is it.